We'll get started. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to esteemed delegates, colleagues, and friends of BBNJ and the High Seas Treaty from all around the world. I'm Beck Hubbard, the Director of the High Seas Alliance, and I am coming to you from Nipaluna, Hobart in Australia. Thank you so much to everybody for joining this global event to celebrate this momentous occasion today. 122 days ago, we reached the magic moment of 60 country ratifications that triggered the entry into force of the High Seas Treaty, or the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Agreement. This is a landmark moment for global ocean governance, which is why we're celebrating today. But as we all know, the work won't stop here, and it's critical that we keep going with ratifications and accessions to the treaty to take it from 60 to global, and aim for universal ratification so that we can ensure the most effective implementation possible for all people around the world. I'm not going to say very much because we have an amazing lineup of speakers and performers. So I'll just start with a couple of housekeeping rules and guides. We are recording this event, so please be aware. And we will make available the video on YouTube on that High Seas Alliance channel later. We've set this event up as a Zoom meeting so that we can see people. We'd love to be able to see people's faces. We know that people are joining from governments, from NGOs, from science, from the legal realm, all over, and we're all part of this moment. And so please feel free to turn your video on at any time, but please stay muted. If you'd like to make a comment, please put them in the chat. The agenda has been put into the chat already, and we have a number of opportunities for people to engage throughout the event, as well as some exciting performance. And we'll add links to the chats for everybody. If there's any technical issues, we have recordings of performances, so that hopefully won't be a problem. Hopefully you can see next to my face, or at the top of the videos, what looks to be kind of like a white screen with the name Iris Martins. Iris is a graphic artist and will be drawing this event as we go, and will flash in on Iris's screen from time to time, but you can see it there. Hi, President Whips, you're unmuted right now, and we'll be handing over to you shortly. Thank you so much for joining us. And I think that's it for the introductions. I'd now like to introduce you to UN Legal Counsel, Ms. Eleanor Hammarskjöld, to provide opening remarks for this occasion. Thank you so much, Ms. Hammarskjöld, for joining us.
Thanks so much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of the BBNJ, warm thanks for inviting me to be part of this virtual reception to mark the entry into force of the BBNJ agreement. It is a real pleasure to be with you today and to start the week with such a celebratory occasion. In just over 2.5 years, we moved from adoption to entry into force, which is a blistering pace for international law, and it sends a clear message. States are strongly committed to ensuring the health and the resilience of ocean ecosystems for generations to come. It is also testimony to the efforts of other actors, not least civil society, who have worked so tirelessly to build the momentum towards reaching the 60 ratifications required for the entry into force. And that is a momentum that isn't slowing down. As of today, 83 states and the European Union have become parties to the agreement. And a lot has been achieved with the adoption of the agreement. It was a significant development for the United Nations, for multilateralism, and for our ocean. The adoption of the agreement was also a promise to our ocean, and that's a promise that we now have to deliver on. So what does it mean that it's now in force? Well, it means that the rights and obligations set out in the agreement are taking effect, and that parties to the agreement are responsible for their implementation of the BBNJ. I'm really encouraged by the steps that are being taken to translate the agreement into a reality at the national level, the national steps that are being taken to ensure by states the effective implementation of the BBNJ from day one. We know, of course, that some of the provisions of the BBNJ can't be fully operationalized yet because they require the functioning of the institutions that are to be established under the agreement and of the financial mechanism, among others. So several important decisions on these matters will be finalized by the Preparatory Commission for the BBNJ agreement, which will be meeting for its third session from the 23rd of March to the 2nd of April of 2026, and which subsequently should be adopted by the first conference of state parties to the agreement, which will be convened by the Secretary General by the 17th of January next year, 2027. As states engage in implementing the agreement or preparing to do so, a multitude of supporting activities to build the necessary capacity for implementation is on offer. And that includes efforts by my office and the Division for Ocean Affairs and Law of the Sea, and other intergovernmental organizations within and outside the UN system. UN Oceans, the interagency mechanism on ocean and coastal issues, is playing an instrumental role in promoting coordination and coherence in the BBNJ-related activities across the UN system and in facilitating interagency information exchange. And we met just last week on this topic and were able to really take a look at the broad range of capacity building efforts that the broad UN family is putting in place to help achieve the aims and the implementation of the BBNJ. Civil society organizations will continue to be indispensable partners as we enter the next chapter in the life of the BBNJ agreement. And we continue to be grateful for your continued engagement for this. We will need you on the journey ahead to make the BBNJ a reality. Achieving the objectives of the agreement is going to require bold action, strong partnerships, and sustained financial resources. And I'm confident that each of us will play our parts, and that together we'll be able to turn this legal triumph into a living reality for our ocean. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hemmerskold. The support from the Division of Ocean Law of the Sea and the UN team over many years, I think everyone would agree it has been phenomenal, and really still appreciate all the effort that's going in right now, as you said, with the next things coming up this year. So with that, I would like to move on to our next esteemed guest, President Whips of Palau, the first country to ratify the High Seas Treaty. Over to you, President Whips.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Well, first of all, thank you. And Ali, and warm greetings from Palau. It is 11 p.m. here, and I know it must be cold in New York, but we send you warm greetings. And this is a week, of course, we join the world in celebrating a historic milestone for our shared ocean. You know, on January 17th, the agreement on biodiversity beyond national jurisdiction, the High Seas Treaty, officially entered into force. And really, this is a moment of global significance and a moment of pride for Palau. You know, for the first time, humanity has agreed on clear, binding rules to conserve and sustainably use marine biodiversity in our high seas, nearly 2/3 of our planet's oceans. The BBNJ agreement establishes the tools the world has long needed: marine protected areas beyond national jurisdiction, environmental impact statement assessments, and rules for responsible use. It sends a clear message that the high seas are no longer a free-for-all and no longer a dumping ground. This treaty brings law, science, and stewardship to waters that sustain us all. The Federated States of Micronesia was first to sign, and we are so blessed that we were able to become the first to ratify, with our Congress approving the ratification in December of 2023. From there, Palau was helped, launched, and co-chair the High Seas Ambition Coalition for the BBNJ alongside our friends from the Seychelles and the European Union, transforming really diplomatic text into a true global race for ratification. Sometimes we're always referred to as small islands, but we may be in small land area, but we are big ocean states. And the entry into force of the BBNJ agreement proves that even small islands can move very large oceans. As we shared at the United Nations in September, I used the Palauan saying, which is "Asenson mrai aklongones," which means small twigs can bring, bonded together, can bring a pot to boil. The BBNJ is a testament to what becomes possible when nations work together with purpose and courage. In Palau, we also have say, "Kadilotki el-ang e diamletki ar." It is a warning that reminds us that sometimes we are living only for today and failing to prepare for tomorrow. Well, we celebrate this BBNJ because it is our collective promise not to neglect the RR, or the future of our ocean and the future of our children. The treaty sets rules so that those who benefit from the high seas genetic resources also share those benefits, helping fund conservation, capacity building, and technology transfer for developing countries. For big ocean states and indigenous communities, this is more than a conservation agreement. It is a justice compact, one that recognizes traditional knowledge, long stewardship, and our deep relationship with the Blue Continent. In Palau, we are committed to implementation, and we are working to align our national policies, which have begun from small protected areas to a collective network of reefs, and now our EEZ through the Palau National Marine Sanctuary, and now moving on with our BBNJ obligations through a dedicated implementation project supported by international partners. Entry into force is not the finish line. It is the starting signal to go. Palau stands ready to continue working with all nations to ensure that the promise of the BBNJ agreement becomes the real protection, real equity, and real hope for our ocean and for the generations yet to come. Kokman Masulang, and thank you.
Thank you so much, President Witts. That was beautiful and perfect, and very much brings our focus to moving forward. So this evening, it's the middle of the night for me. Your day's event is we have a range of speakers and a couple of interactive moments. In case you were contacted by any colleagues that were having trouble getting into the meeting, you can also let them know that we have fixed the problem. We did have a cap that was temporarily blocking people from entering. So if any of your colleagues have contacted you saying that they couldn't get in, please let them know that they should be able to get in without a problem now. So apologies for that little technicality. But as our first interactive activity for the event, we are putting in the chat a link to a Mentimeter, and we'd love if people could answer the question, which region are you from? You can try and choose your country, but unfortunately the scale of the country is of the map is quite small. But please go ahead and add your location to the best of your ability so that we can see where people are joining us from. I'll just note that I can see now people adding it, which is great. We've got quite good coverage. I note that there's not too many of us from Australia or New Zealand, and that's possibly because it is the middle of the night. But I know that people are certainly celebrating in spirit and maybe had their champagne earlier this evening. Fantastic. And of course, feel free to say hello in the chat as well. But we thought it would be great to have this visual representation, particularly of the diverse global and geographic representation that we have of support for the treaty. I think this is certainly one of the things that makes it unique and brilliant. Okay, so for our next interactive activity, we're going to do them both together at this very moment. We'd like, if possible, for everybody to put their video on, and we'd like to do a toast with everybody on screen. If you brought a beverage, then you can toast your beverage. If you didn't, that's also fine. I'll just wait a minute. I can't see all the screens because there's many screens, but I'm hoping lots of people are putting their videos on. Yes, I can see a few. Fantastic. And don't worry if you look tired. It's okay. Oh, I can see the next generation. Oh, that's so exciting. We have the next generation of BBNJ babies. Excellent. Yes, definitely. Bring the next generation into the photo. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning of the tabs. I can see lots of people have got their videos on. On the count of three, I think if everybody says BBNJ, we're going to take screenshots so that we can capture some of your fabulous BBNJ celebratory faces. Okay. Nobody else is actually unmuted, so me counting to three sounds a bit weird, but anyway, I'm going to do it anyway. And even if you are muted, say BBNJ in your place. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. BBNJ! Hoping we got pictures. Cami, give me a thumbs up if we got pictures of all of the beautiful love hearts and celebratory faces. Excellent.
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay, great. Fabulous. Thank you, everybody, for all of the BB&J love. Okay, so we'll keep moving through our program because we still have quite a few exciting things to come. The next little feature we have is a video that celebrates different voices from around the world on to mark the moment of entry into force and signaling our next goal of universal ratification. In the video, we have the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Singapore, the Pacific Ocean Commissioner, the EU Commissioner, and many members of the High Seas Alliance as well. So if we are ready.
The world made history.
We had 60 ratifications for the BBNJ agreement, and today officially enters into force.
It's officially international law.
This is an example of what global cooperation can achieve, an example of multilateralism.
Multilateralism is alive, and at these challenging times, that is very important.
Now is the time for all nations to join this collective movement, to ratify the treaty and to protect the ocean for generations to come.
This High Seas Treaty gives me a lot of hope. To ratify is to express a real commitment.
The treaty is officially international law.
This is a huge win
for ocean life,
for climate action,
and billions of people around the world.
The treaty gives us a roadmap to protect nearly half the planet by enabling high seas marine protected areas and global cooperation.
But this is just the beginning.
Now it's time to move from 60 to global.
Every country needs to have a seat at the table.
To ensure strong institutions and processes are put in place to turn ambition into action.
Let's keep the momentum going.
The ocean cannot wait.
Ratify the High Seas Treaty now.
Ratify now. 60 to global.
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 Thanks, everybody. And thank you so much for everybody who was part of the video for contributing your messages. So next up, we will hear from Lisa. Is Lisa here?
Hello.
Good morning. Excellent. Oh, great. Sorry, Lisa, I couldn't see you. So Lisa is one of the global ocean directors at the NRDC and one of the founders of High Seas Alliance and a long-term BBNJ champion. So she's going to give us some reflections on the journey the long journey that got us to this point. Thanks, Lisa, so much.
Thanks, Beck, and good morning, good evening to everyone. Saturday was a big day, and I felt like I couldn't let that day go by without commemorating one of the giants of marine conservation and the high seas conservation, and that is Christina Jurdy. I'm going to try to get through this without crying, so hopefully stick with me. So I was lucky enough a couple of decades ago to be part of a small group of lawyers and scientists and policy people who began to talk about the need for an overhaul to the antiquated and patchwork of global rules that govern the ocean beyond national jurisdiction. Christina led that effort, and over the ensuing decades, her vision, her dedication, her optimism, and her persistence helped drive the negotiations forward and get us to the place that we are today. Christina was also a friend, a counselor, a mentor to so many of us over the years, and she was adept at bringing people together. She has helped establish the Deep Sea Conservation Coalition, the Deep Ocean Stewardship Council, and of course, the High Seas Alliance. She was also adept at getting people to do what she wanted them to do. She would say, Lisa, you're so good at X. Why don't you do Y? And of course, it was time to head for the hills, but you'd look at her, roll your eyes, and then do exactly what she wanted because she was Christina. I miss her. I miss her 1,000-watt smile, her goofy laugh, the that would often precede a pronouncement or a new idea, and her astounding collection of silk scarves. When I think of what she wants us to do now, I think it is that she wants us to continue her vision. And there are many ways to do that, but 3 kind of jump out at me. The first is to work together over the next few months to assemble strong, durable, and effective institutional mechanisms that can deliver on the promise of the treaty and turn the words on paper into change on the water. She wants us to step on the gas, so let's do that. Second, I think it's very important to support her innovative new program, the Ocean Stewardship Award, which is aimed at cultivating the next generation of high seas champions. And lastly, I think we need to continue the optimism, the persistence, and the generosity of spirit that characterized so much of her work and that she's bequeathed to all of us. Christina is survived by Adam, her husband, and Darius, her son, who tirelessly took care of her over the difficult journey she was on over the last 3 years. Thank you to both of you if you're here. In lieu of flowers, Christina asked that contributions be made to the Ocean Stewardship Award, and the chat will contain details on how you can do that. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Lisa. There was a really great article that someone from a Forbes journalist wrote, and it was about the incredible women behind the High Seas Treaty. And I'd just like to obviously acknowledge Christina if there's a lot of love in the room for her tonight and today. And she was indeed one of the giants. But Lisa, you have also been one of the giants of the High Seas Treaty, and many other people on this call, Morella, I think, Natalie, lots of people, and a surprising number of incredible women, I just have to say it, who have been behind the High Seas Treaty over decades. I'm not sure if Karen is joining, or Liz, Karen, or Nicola Clark. There's many, 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 Susanna Fuller. We could name many people. And of course, there are lots of also magnificent men who have been involved. But I do think that it is quite an interesting treat that there are so many incredible women that have been part of the development of the treaty over the years. And we're hearing from some of them tonight. So very exciting. And very grateful for all of those contributions. So next up, we have some fun for you all, because the oceans are fun. The High Seas Treaty, it may be a UN agreement that's full of a lot of really technical detail, but it's amazing and it's fun and it's awesome because it is about the high seas and the ocean, and those things are beautiful and joyous as well. It's not all policy and legals. So I'm going to hand over to the critically acclaimed music artist, actress, songwriter, diver, and ocean activist, M. the Master. We had the pleasure of collaborating with M during the UN General Assembly high-level week in New York when we reached the magic moment of 60 ratification. So some of you may have been there to see her in person, but as a second best, we have her live with us tonight. Handing over to you, Em.
Thanks, Beck. Hi, everyone. I'm so honoured to be here with you all today and so excited to get to celebrate this moment. I would like to play a song called Master of Disguise, which is sung by a sassy octopus. And the reason I've chosen to perform this today is, of course, in honour of Octavia, the incredible octopus mascot of the High Seas Treaty. I'm the queen of the ocean, diva of the deep. I like to have my fun playing hide and seek. I'm spotty, then stripy, black and then I'm white. When sharks attempt to bite me, I just disappear from sight. I'll be algae, I'll be coral, I'll be the whole reef. I'm known to cause a quarrel and disgruntled teeth. Don't hide when I am hunted, I simply conceal. I'm #1 most wanted by the moray eel. I'm a crab, then a shrimp, I can even be a rock. Once out of harm, I stretch my arms and take a lovely walk. My body's spread widely, but I ain't getting caught. Cause right as they arrive, I tie myself into a knot. I'm a master of disguise. I'm fast and I'm resourceful, I am an octopus surprise. I'm a drifter, shapeshifter, my body's full of lies. Deceiving, hard to read me. Am I nasty? Am I nice? Can change my texture quickly, be ornate, then stark. Can switch from smooth to prickly to outsmart a shark. I'm orange, I'm purple, I'm red, I'm the whole lot. Can imitate a turtle, heck, could imitate a yacht. And if you want me to, take it up a notch. I'll impersonate a person later if you stay to watch. I'm a master of disguise. Faster than a fish, I squish myself to half my size. I'm a drifter, shapeshifter, swifter than a spy. A camouflage chameleon with arms that mesmerize. I'm a master of disguise. Just when you think you've got me, I'll disappear before your eyes. I'm a drifter, shapeshifter, swifter than you think. You'll swear you saw me there, then I'll be gone before you blink. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Em. There's lots of claps and love hearts coming to you. And I think one of the fascinating things about Em, and when I first met her, she suggested she wanted to become a marine scientist. And I said, no, Em, no, don't become a marine scientist, because we don't have enough fabulous performers and creatives celebrating the high seas and communicating the high seas this way. So, I mean, you could become a marine scientist as well, but please never stop singing and performing, because it really brings so much joy and really highlights the value of the oceans in a completely different way. So thank you so much. We'll come back to you again shortly. Next up, we have a recording, a video from Solomon Pili Kaho Ohalahala, otherwise known as Uncle Sol to many of us. Uncle Sol is a 7th generation native Hawaiian from Lanai, renowned for his lifelong dedication to ocean protection and the perpetuation of Hawaiian cultural traditions. He's recorded a speech for this webinar because it's some absurd time of night for him to contribute to his celebration of the High Seas Treaty from Hawaii. And there's a fantastic blog story about him as well, which we'll pop in the chat for people to look at later. And right now we'll go to the video.
Aloha kākou apau. I'm very happy today that I can join you in this celebration of the High Seas Treaty being put into force. It is work that has been taking decades to accomplish, but that we are at this moment in time is a time for celebration from all of us. So I want to contribute our celebration from Hawaii. We have a story of creation that's called the Kumulipo. And in the Kumulipo, it says that from the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean, there is a matter called the Vali Vali. And with the energy incited by Kumulipo and Po'ele, that energy is incited to create the first living creature in our story of creation, and that is the Ukuko'akoa. The Ukuko'akoa is the first coral polyp. So in Hawaii, that is our eldest ancestor and kupuna. And from there, all other things are created in the vertical water column, into the near shorelines, onto the land and into the hills, and even taking flight in the skies above. So this is the time that we can celebrate the creation and the responsibility that we have as the native peoples and the indigenous people of Oceania. In this creation, it says that we are part of nature, and therefore we have an inherent responsibility for the care and the responsibility and to reciprocate with nature and to share and to give back, so that in return we will be the beneficiaries and those that receive all the gifts of nature. So that is the Hawaiian mindset that begins with our Kumulipo. Our experiences in Oceania are generational, and we have crossed the vast Pacific in voyaging canoes. We have touched every single island nation that's in Oceania, and we continue now to voyage and to impart this message. So in supporting this, I would like to add a chant and an oli, and it is called Huipu na leo o moana nui a kea. So we call with our voices for all of the people of Oceania to come together and to join in this effort. So, Huipu na leo o moana nui a kea. Huipu na leo o moana nui a kea. Ela e kahiki ela e kahiki moe. We know that the sun rises from the east and it sets in the west. Peleleo I ele ku, peleleo I ele moe. We know that the northern star is a cardinal point and it connects to the Southern Cross. Ha'ana hoku kau I kaleva. We understand the stars that are fixed in the sky. They give us direction, and they know the way that we should come home based on the stars. O ke au miki, o ke au ka. We know the currents that move outward, and we know the currents that are swift. O kane wahilani, o kane kapuahi o. We honor Kane of the heavens, and we honor Kane of the winds. Lana lana o ama ka holoi akea. We lash our canoes so that we may give strength and integrity to do our voyages. Wapu kapo uua e kapea. Our mast is upright, our sails are open, and we catch the winds. Le ia ke e a ehu ehu o na ale. We are adorned with the mist of the sea and the strength of the billows of winds. Ki au au eo. We work together. Ko au au eo. We pull together. Hui pu na leo o moana nui a kea. Let us join our voices of Oceania so that we may embark on this voyage for the Treaty of the High Seas. Aloha kako from Hawaii.
Well, that was really beautiful and the perfect reminder of our connection to the ocean and the collaborative nature of how the whole High Seas Treaty came about and also how it's going to come to life going forward by lashing our canoes together. Thank you, Uncle Sol. Next up, we have another recording from Sri Lankan marine biologist, ocean educator, and deep sea explorer Asha DeVos. And Asha's going to give us some insights into the biodiversity of the high seas and why we're protecting it with the High Seas Treaty.
Hello and greetings to you all on this incredibly momentous occasion. It's a hugely historic moment for all of humanity as we've come together as a global community to make a commitment on behalf of our ocean. As we all know, the high seas are 2/3 of our ocean, clearly the vast majority of it. Unfortunately, however, colloquially, because it lies beyond national borders, colloquially, people have often referred to it as no man's land, when in fact, it is every human's land, so to speak, because it is the common heritage of all of us. So really, this moment reminds us that any decision being made about the high seas has to be made together in a manner that's equitable. It is also important for us to remember that this area is not just something we need to protect for all of us living on the planet today, but we have a responsibility towards our unborn generations as well. We know that the high seas is teeming with life. Unfortunately, it has fallen through the cracks of global governance for too long. As a result, it has faced threats from overfishing, from pollution, and so many more threats that are looming. And the High Seas Treaty actually allows us to put into action some protection measures that can ensure the long-term sustainability of this ecosystem and the species that depend on it. We know that the high seas is teeming with life. And actually, when I think about the life that lives out there, I often think about, how little access we've had and what we know, there's still so much more to learn and understand as a result. And it makes me reflect on a moment from 2017 out here in Sri Lanka, where I documented for the first time an Omiras whale on our doorstep on the south coast. And I remember in that moment, of course, being really excited to have discovered a new species in our waters, as one would be, but also just thinking about the fact that, has this species always been here and have we overlooked it, right? And if so, if we're overlooking an animal that can grow to, say, 10 meters, then what more are we overlooking? What of those smaller species? And so in a similar vein, I think about that, if we're overlooking these species, these giants, or whatever it is we're seeing on our coastlines, in our coastal areas, where we have so much more access and there's so much more activity, then what of those species in the high seas areas and deeper down? And I acknowledge in this moment that we have so much more to learn, but also how lucky we are that we are the ones who get to stand at the start line of this very important journey. I mean, despite the fact that this High Seas Treaty, we are in this moment, it is coming into force because of the vision and the hard work of so many others who've come before us, as well as those standing by us. And so as we embark on this new journey from this start line, as we move forward, we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to hold each other accountable. We have to remain committed, and we have to make sure we're doing the hard work and persisting in turning this treaty into actual action, so we can actually walk the talk, so to speak, and see the results of this hard work that's already been put into place. And I think it's possible. Watching how our world has come together to make this decision to ratify this treaty and then to bring it into force, I believe that it's completely possible for us to make this the next best decisions that we need to make in order to protect our ocean, not just for ourselves, but also for our unborn generations, for the species that live within, and all that depend on it. Thank you.
Thanks so much to Asha for that inspiring conversation and the reminder to think about our next generations and what we're doing, why we're doing this. So I mentioned at the beginning that we have Iris drawing this event. So just going to flick to Iris and see how it's looking.
Hello.
Hello. Tell us what you see.
Well, I mean, I love that there's a couple messages that we are hearing again and again, which are very strong messages and super important ones that really echo, the fact that it's not about now, it's about what's coming in the future, that we need to, protect what we have now and then protect it not just for this generation, but many, many to come. So it was lovely to hear that that's come out with quite a few speakers. Yeah, I'll be continuing to draw for the remainder of the call. So you'll see the drawings pop up, and you'll see the whole screen kind of fill up with all sorts of illustrations and quotes from the speakers.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Iris. I am always absolutely astounded by how you can capture words in pictures so brilliantly. So we're going to now go back to Em again for another song. Em, maybe you can give a little bit of an intro for this one, because this is pretty exciting. This is specially created for this moment, right?
Yes. Hi everyone again. When the High Seas Alliance asked me to be part of this webinar, they initially said, you don't need to write anything new, just you can do whatever you want. And I was just like, of course I'm going to write something that's dedicated to the treaty. So this song is called Don't Stop Now, and it really kind of reiterates everything that we've been hearing today. I've heard lots of people say that really this is just the beginning, and of course this is a moment to celebrate, but this is just the start, and that's definitely the message behind this song. And I hope that it's inspiring and encouraging and igniting. Decades of fight for the thing that is right, and finally it's come to be that we are seeing the light. But don't stop now, don't stop now. We need the whole world to buckle down. Octavia's here with her bottle of ink, saying if you haven't signed, could you give it a think? 'Cause nothing could make her more satisfied than every single country having ratified. Oh, so don't stop now, don't stop now. We need to follow in the footsteps of Palau. Don't stop now, don't stop now. The world could use some hope, and maybe this is how. It's a fact that things need to change. Don't turn your back on the beautiful waves. We can't retract all those earlier days, but we can do what we can do now. We can't deny our human reliance on all that lies in the oceans beside us. So thank you to the High Seas Alliance for showing all of us how. Let's celebrate this magical milestone and innovate something that's never been done, and energize and get excited for all this to come. It started with one, and and then became 2. Now it's 83, but we still got work to do. But when we come together, we can make real change. Be the people who have redefined our age. So do it for the children and the animals, and to make sure we leave a future that is beautiful. So don't stop now, we've just begun. And who knows, maybe all working together even could be fun. So don't stop now, 'cause this ain't done. You cannot wage a war on something that belongs to everyone. So don't stop now, we've just begun. Working together even could be fun. Don't back down, time to stand up. The ocean is for everyone, not just for us. So don't stop now, this ain't done. Can't make a bid on what belongs to everyone. So don't stop now, hear my song. This is just the start. And we've got hope, and we've got hearts. So let's give it everything we got. Thank you.
Bravo. Amazing. Thank you, Em. I think we'll probably end up with recordings of this. I think there's already been a suggestion that perhaps we get you to open PrepCom 3 with a performance. That was thanks to Lisa. Brilliant idea. Let's propose that to the co-chairs next time we talk to them.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so now that everybody has had that inspiring performance, this is the perfect time to put the next question for you into the chat. And for our Mentimeter, how do you feel about the treaty's entry into force? In just one word, can you please tell us how you feel about the treaty's entry into force? And feel free to say it in your own language if English is your second language. Excellent. Seeing lots of, does everybody have the Menti link? I think the link is in the chat there, in case you didn't see it. We're getting lots of hopeful, thrilled, excited, esperanzada, which is hopeful, feliz, happy, optimistic. Ooh, I can't read all of these languages, which is brilliant. It shows how much diversity we have in people coming through. Cautiously optimistic, re-energized, brilliant. We'll keep collecting them, keep them there, keep adding. That's fantastic. It's definitely been something that has been captured in all of the conversations that people have had, that we've been having with people, and that have been communicated not just by civil society, I think, but by governments and political leaders and others, that at this point in the world, with so many challenges and so much unilateral action, actually the High Seas Treaty is one of the few things that is keeping people really inspired and hopeful and believing in the possibility of multilateralism and collaborating and working together. And that is incredibly valuable at these times. So we're a little bit ahead of time. So I'm going to go to Ms. Rena Lee right now, if Rena is available. As many of you will know, Ambassador for International Law, Singapore, and the former president of the IGC, who brought the ship to shore. Rena, if you would mind giving your thoughts on why this moment matters and maybe some of the feelings that were just expressed. And many thanks to your brilliant efforts over all of those negotiations, and some thoughts on the significance for collective action. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Happy Entry into Force Day, or slightly belated Entry into Force Day. To some extent, it seems a little surreal that we are here today celebrating the entry into force of the BBNJ agreement. When the IGC first started, there were a number of people who expressed doubts that we could conclude an agreement. And when we adopted the agreement, quite a few asked, why did we set such a high threshold for entry into force, arguing that it would take many years for the agreement to enter into force? But here we are today, celebrating a huge milestone in the long journey of ocean protection. And I want to take this opportunity to raise a glass, in my case, a bottle. It is too late here in Singapore for who have worked on and who continue to work on BBNJ issues. Today would not be possible without all of you and many more who aren't online at this moment. As we move to the implementation of the BBNJ agreement, and may I say, I don't know if M is still online, may I say that was a brilliant song. We should put it on Spotify if we can, so that all of us can download and learn the song as well. But as we move to the implementation of the provisions of the BBNJ agreement, we should recognize that the BBNJ story is not about a closed family. And the fact that I see so many new names here today joining us speaks to that. The BBNJ story is one where we welcome with open arms many more to join us in our cooperative efforts. Those of you who worked on or are working on the ratification of the BBNJ agreement in your respective countries will already know this. To effectively implement the BBNJ agreement will involve reasons beyond those who negotiated the agreement. I was asked, what are the indicators of success? Of course, to deliver concrete positive changes, not only substantively in the high seas and deep seabed, but also in the way we govern these areas. To do so, universal participation will be crucial, so we should bear in mind the need to welcome others to join us as we work together to develop the implementation mechanisms and processes. To many, the BBNJ is not simply about the promise of a brighter future for our oceans, but also about the promise for more cooperative action and multilateralism. I trust that we can continue to work together cooperatively, all stakeholders, to deliver on these promises. But the BBNJ opportunity like the IGC comes around rarely. So we had to be careful not to squander the opportunity because we could not have a do-over. I think I can say the same now. We now have the opportunity to deliver concrete change in the areas beyond national jurisdiction for the better. And we must be careful not to squander this opportunity. But more than squandering the opportunity, are today, as I've said, is the result of many years of dedication, vision, and hard work on the part of many people, several of whom are not part of the story anymore. Some may have moved on to other roles, others, sadly, are no more. Those left us, Christina being one, but others as well, they left a very precious legacy. And it falls on us, those of us who remain behind, to protect and take care of the legacy that they have left us. In closing, I want to say it's really been my privilege to have had a small role in the BBNJ story. To continue the story, we must get the BBNJ ship ready to set sail again, to sail to the areas beyond national jurisdiction to deliver real change. I know we can do it because we've done it before. Anchors away. Thanks much, Lee.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Rena. We really appreciate you joining. And thank you for bringing your critter, the High Seas Guardians. If anybody else brought one, feel free to wave your small crocheted animal. These are one of the mascots that have been following the High Seas Treaty for years. And certainly a key feature of the treaty negotiations, which sounds quite funny, but it is amazing how they can bring color and joy to those negotiations in the basement of the UN sometimes. Thank you so much for those words, Ambassador Rena. Really inspiring, and it's so true to remember the many, many, many people who have contributed. Christina amongst them, but so many. So, we've got a couple more things before we close up this celebration. Unfortunately, our High Seas Youth Ambassador, Francine, who's from Samoa, couldn't join us, but we did have a moment for her to talk about the important role of youth in the campaign thus far and in its future. And it's certainly one of the groups, as Ambassador Rena mentioned, the treaty and its inclusivity is one of the really important features of the High Seas Treaty. Inclusivity and transparency, and including young people in that has been, I think, really fantastic process, and certainly something that at High Seas Alliance will continue to do with the High Seas Youth Ambassador Program in collaboration with our member org Earth Echo. So I just wanted to flag that because unfortunately Francine couldn't join us. So we have another Mentimeter question for everybody. As a final question, what, in one word, I know it's hard, what is most needed to get the treaty up and running effectively? So Ambassador Rena talked about some of those key things. I see some people putting comments in the chat. If you can click on the link and add it to the Mentimeter, that's great. If not, thanks for adding it into the chat. There's a strong theme on collaboration, cooperation, political will, determination, funding, definitely, inclusivity, peace. It's a hopeful moment. Please keep adding them. We will collect them. I'm not sure how long it takes for things to show up. And I can't see all of the words because they're quite small on my screen. But I think with all of the persistence and optimism and the cooperative spirit that we've had and that we continue to have, we stand a really, really good chance of making BBNJ and the High Seas Treaty, turning it into a living, breathing, and effective thing. So maybe we can just now go back to Iris, who's been drawing away for the end of this last bit of the celebration.
Yeah, hello. So yeah, indeed, just continued grabbing snippets here and there of everything that I've heard. I love the second song as well. That was absolutely delightful. So we've got the "Don't Stop Now" turtle kind of shouting out that we've got to continue working because it can be fun if we just continue with what we've begun. That was a really nice song, by the way. So we also had the message that was coming to us from Hawaii, where we were honoring nature and sea and the stars, and kind of again echoing the past generations and many to come. I loved the Mentimeter questions and the answers that came out there. About how do we feel about the BBNJ coming into force. And some of the answers that came out there, a lot of them were around, feeling energized, feeling optimistic and excited. So that was really, really nice to see. And then, just again echoing those, the need for collaboration and for all working together, really bringing everybody along, because obviously these are things that will not be realized just by, a couple of people. You really need all stakeholders to be part of it. So yeah, I've got a little bit more space here for some final messaging, but I think we've kind of captured the essence really of what's been said today. This has been delightful.
Thanks so much, Iris. Brilliant job. Looks absolutely incredible. And for everybody who's watching, we'll be sharing the links, and we'll send a follow-up message with links to these images as well. So we're finishing a little bit of ahead of time, which I don't think anybody will probably complain about because everybody spends a lot of time on screens these days. But I would really like to thank all of our wonderful speakers and performers for contributing, not just today, but all the other times. Your passion, your expertise, persistence. It's really a pleasure and an honor to have you all as part of the High Seas Treaty journey. Thank you to absolutely everybody who joined us. It's really been really lovely, and it was lovely that people turned their videos on. Feel free to turn your video on to look at everybody's faces and say goodbye as I run through these last messages. We tried in the presenters today to have some of the reflection of the diversity of stakeholders and key interests and regions from around the world, but you can never do that in just 1 hour. So I really would like to thank everybody for joining from everywhere, for all the people that we haven't mentioned. it's very much, as Ambassador Rena and others said, the High Seas Treaty is really a success because of the broad and deep engagement that that people from all regions and all backgrounds give it. So going forward, this is going to be another huge year for the High Seas Treaty. We have PrepCom 3, the Preparatory Commission meeting in the second half of March, which will be really focused on finalising, hopefully, the discussions and preparations for the institutional bodies and rules that will govern how the treaty operates. And it's absolutely essential that these are well established so that the treaty can run effectively, efficiently, continue to be inclusive and transparent, and get well funded and financed so that we can actually make change in the water. And that means, obviously, continued engagement from all of you. At the High Seas Alliance, we'll continue to work with our members to engage in that process. The first COP will happen within 1 year of the 17th. So that will be another really big event for the year that we'll all be really working towards and preparing for implementation in the water. So starting to look at places to protect, starting to talk about what kind of capacity building developing countries really need to ensure that they are an equal part of high seas conservation and management. And as High Seas Alliance and our members will be coordinating a series of webinars to talk about the High Seas Treaty in more detail, to dive into some of the areas of the treaty, to share kind of expertise, to share best practice, and to really ensure that we have opportunities to hear from technical experts on how we can best implement the treaty going forward to ensure that we really can achieve that protection, that equitable protection that the treaty sets out to do. So I think the last thing to mention is that, as I said before, that there should be a number of links in the chat and posts, as well as what Lisa mentioned. If you'd like to make a donation to the Ocean Stewardship Award in Christina's memory, really encourage that. And we look forward to working with you all in this next exciting phase of the High Seas Treaty. Thank you again for joining us. Feel free to turn your... Oh, no, I don't think you can unmute. Otherwise, I was going to say you could all unmute and share. But thank you so much for joining us, and see you soon.